Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop, howdy! Today I have a piece of Cherry-Plum. This was sent to me by Tuffy Marginez, known to me as Jeff. He's a frequent contributor to the comments section. He found this on one of his hikes around his neighborhood, and he took it home and cut it up. Apparently it was a larger trunk. And he sent this to me, and it's wonderful looking. Look at that bark. Look at the wonderful shapes we have here. It is going to be an end grain turning, so it's going to be rather difficult, especially for me, but we're going to get it done. Jeff also included a rather large bottle of CA. He said he had some extra, and he wanted me to have it in case it would help me out, and I'm sure it will. Thank you, Jeff. And he sent me this. And as I was unwrapping this, I thought, oh my God, he sent me a gun. But it's a part of this very same tree. And Jeff's a machinist, and he machined these brass parts. And when I picked this up, I could hear it rattling, so I unscrewed it. I was in kind of a hurry at the time, and I tipped out whatever was in there, and it's this bolt. And I unscrewed the nut a little bit, and I screwed it back on, put it back in there, put the cap back on, and went about my business. And I wrote Jeff an email, and I said, hey, thank you very much, what a beautiful piece of wood. And I explained to him about what I thought was a gun, and I said, that's really cool, that's really cool. And he said, well, that's not just a bolt in there. He says, unscrew it all the way. So I unscrewed the nut, and what do you know? It's a pen. It's a pen. So Jeff, the machinist, apparently took this bolt and drilled it out and inserted a pen insert in there. And he also put his initials on the top here. Just amazing. Just amazing. I mean, how cool is that? Who's got one of those? I do. And I'm glad. Just a piece of a tree. What an imagination. And a wonderful brass top. How nice. So, let's get this piece of Cherry-Plum, which is about 10-inch diameter. It's quite irregular, of course, but roughly 10-inch diameter and about 5 inches deep. Let's get that mounted up on the woodworm screw. I've already drilled my hole. And we'll get to hollowing out this end grain stump. Can't hardly wait. Stand by. Now, as you might imagine, this is really out of balance, and it's mostly due to this growth on the side here. That's the heavy side. What I'm going to do is start evening out the bottom. I don't know if this is going to get more in balance because of this being where it is, and me taking the wood off over here. It may get even more out of balance. So I'm only able to turn at 450 RPM, really slow, but we'll just see how it goes. And the reason that is I wanted to make the largest bowl possible. I've got my 5/8 inch bowl gouge freshly sharpened. I'm going to put on my mask and face shield, and we're going to get to turning. Well, I've been standing here trying to figure this out, what to do with this wing that's sticking out here. It's a long distance from where this is. As soon as I turn a little bit, it goes way out there, like 2 inches, 3 inches, and of course that's what's throwing it off balance. I can live with it, but I can't get really smooth cuts. Also, I'm not sure it would look good to leave it. There's still going to be plenty of, I'm not going to remove this. This will be here, this will be here, this will be here. Much of this will remain, but I think I have to take this off. You can see that I glued it. I did that before I ever mounted it. It wasn't loose, but I just did it as a precaution. But you can also see there's likely bark right here. So I'm gonna take this off. I hate to do it. I just hate to do it. You know, I like to leave things as they are. But I think in this case I just have to. Oh, that is sharp stuff. It hurts. Well, you can see it cut me. I gotta put on a glove. It's just, that hurts, man. Uh-oh. That was that whole piece, I'll betcha. It was. Well, you know, I kind of like that anyway. Let me go get it. That was right there. Oh, I don't know. I kind of like it. What do you think? Glue it on or leave it off? I think I'm going to leave it off. Yeah, I like it better without it. This hasn't seen the light of day for many years. Alright, that's probably enough on the sides. We'll go back to work on the bottom. So I just want to come around here and kind of round up this corner and create a tenon on the bottom. You gotta pick the speed up, any. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's about 1300. Yeah, that looks better a little bit round like that. I don't know if you could see it, but there was smoke coming off of this gouge a minute ago. It's hard wood. Okay, let me get my diamond point tool. We'll square up the sides of this. See how flat this bottom is or isn't. Oh, it is good. Yeah, it's good. No, it's a little bit too long, especially with this center part, so I'm going to remove the tailstock. Just use the woodworm screw to hold it. Is this beautiful? or what? You probably can't see it all. Let me zoom out a little bit. Look at that. Oh man. Oh man. Look at that. And I like this gap that we accidentally created, revealing what used to be. Well, you know what time it is. Time for sanding. As I often do with a piece like this that has a lot of bark and bark inclusions and whatnot, I'm going to start the sanding with my Sandoflex. I'm going to sand just the bark and you know, all of these odd shaped areas with the Sandoflex, and then I'll move to the 2-inch disc sander. So let me get my mask on. I'll show you how that's going to work. So what that does, it just cleans the bark and removes any sharp edges. It doesn't really alter the look of the bark. It does a really terrific job. Boy, I just can't wait. Look at that, bark is almost black compared to the lighter color wood. That's gonna look so nice with finish on it. I just can't wait. So then I'll just move to my 2-inch disc sander, and I don't even have a disc on here yet. And I'll just spin it up in reverse. I'll start in reverse, and it'll just be doing that. I've got a pretty good finish on here off the tool, but I think I'll probably still start at 80 grit, and I'll work up through 400, and I'll bring you back when it's time to put some, what are we gonna do? Probably sanding sealer and shellac on this piece. See you in a bit. Would you look at that? Wow. For something I thought was going to be really hard to sand, it wasn't. It was really easy to sand. And it's such a tight grained, so very, very hard wood. There was practically no dust, no sanding dust. There was some, but not like with a lot of woods that I turn. So I'll put on at least 2 coats of this shellac-based sanding sealer. It's called Zinsser Seal Coat. And again, I don't get anything from anybody. Zinsser's not paying me. I'm buying the product. I'm just letting you know that's what I use, because I get asked all the time. It's pre-mixed. I don't mix anything. And then I'll put Zinsser shellac over this after I've got 2-3 coats on here. Look at that. Look at that contrast. Oh my. Hoo-wee, baby. Jeff has good taste in wood, I'll tell you. So I'll see you back here when it's time to turn this around and hollow it out. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we're in for it now. First off, the finish on the outside, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so impressed. It's just incredible. Of course, it's because of the wood. The wood is incredible. And we're looking dead at end grain here, and I defy you to try and count or even see a single growth ring. I don't know how old this tree might be, or I don't know anything about Cherry-Plum, but it is dense. I just can't see any growth rings. It's amazing. Anyway, so we're in for it now. I'm in for it. You're just going to sit back with a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever it is you're going to have, Coke. I sharpened up my 5/8" bowl gouge. I don't expect to get far with it, but I'm going to give it a try. I'll probably end up with a carbide hollowing tool, because this is just such hard and end grain besides. You can see where I've drawn a circle. I did that before I ever mounted this up on the lathe. But then we lost that piece out of here, which I'm glad we did. I think it looks better without it. But I don't necessarily want to run off the edge of this bowl. I might, but I'm gonna start way in here. Try and stay inside of this. I think that's the furthest out I want to go, is right here. We'll see how it goes. I might end up going out further, but we'll start there. So I'm just going to kind of sneak up on an outer edge here. As soon as I get my mask and face shield on, and we'll be turning at, I forgot. 1280 RPM. Well, I just can't get there from here. I'm hitting the tailstock. Yeah, if I go with the hollower, I can go straight in. Maybe I'll try that. See what it's going to be like. Well, that sure just makes quick work of it. My friend Gary over at the Papa 1947, that's the name of his YouTube channel, the Papa 1947. If you haven't watched Gary, you really need to get over there and take a look. This guy is talented. He makes turnings like this, but he also makes segmented turnings that'll just make you dizzy, but they're beautiful, beautiful, intricate, wonderful. And he's a good guy. Anyway, he just did an end grain bowl with black locust, and he was having a hard time with a similar tool. Although, Gary, I think your cutter might be bigger than this one. This is a pretty small cutter. This is a Easy Wood Tools CI5 cutter. I5, CI5. Anyway, I'm not having any issues with it grabbing here. This isn't black locust, but I can't imagine any wood much harder than this. But go over and see Gary, the Papa 1947 on YouTube. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I removed the tailstock. I'm going to continue with this hollowing tool, and I am going to lose this. I just don't think it looks good, although the whole thing looks fantastic. But I don't think it looks good being this small of a bowl with this big of a rim. So I'm probably still not going to go all the way out to my line. Maybe I will, I don't know. Sooner or later, maybe. But see this bump? Can you see that bump right there? So it gets thicker at that point. So I think I'll just lose everything above that, and that's okay. I don't mind a gap in the rim of the bowl. I don't mind that for a second. What I mind is losing the darkness of this right here. But there's still plenty of dark around here. I hope that crack doesn't give us problems. I didn't think it would, but I kind of can see where it goes up in here, and it might go down there a ways. But I'm still going to be turning at 1280 RPM. I'm going to remove the center part here and then start making this bigger as soon as I get my mask and face shield back on. Let's see what that looks like. That looks okay. And I am just about out to my line. Yeah, I think that'll be all right. I'm sure I have a real long ways to go, but I want to know how far that is. 2 inches. I was just looking at this crack on the outside, and sure enough, it does go right down to the tenon. Actually, the tenon has part of that crack in it. I'm scared, boys and girls. I don't want this thing to fall apart. But I can't have a 2-inch thick bottom either. I'll just keep working at it. Well, let's check. About 1.25 inches. I guess I wouldn't mind 1 inch, which is a lot, but if it means keeping the bowl in one piece, I can live with it. See what that did for us. Oh yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think we're getting pretty close. Pretty close. I just don't want to lose it. I just don't want half this bowl to go flying. And I don't know how much good my chuck is doing as far as holding that crack together, because the crack does go into the tenon. So it might be squeezing it. As soon as I take it out of the chuck, it might separate some. I don't know. What to do? What would you do? What would you do? Come on. Okay, I thought about it a bit and I'm stopping. So it's actually about a 3/4 inch thick bottom, which is fine with me. So I'm good. I'm good with a 3/4 inch bottom. I'm gonna start sanding. I'm gonna pay careful attention to this edge right here. I'm gonna try and round that over some and just work on the inside, and it shouldn't be that bad. Boy, this is a special piece of wood. Anyway, so I'm gonna get to sanding and then we'll put some finish on the inside. I'll show you how that's gonna look as soon as I get my mask on here. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next hour or two maybe, and we'll get back together when it's time to put some finish on the inside. See you in a bit. Well, that sanding was a bit of a chore, but it paid off. This edge right here is real nice and round, feels real good. The whole thing feels real good. It's quite smooth. Sanded up to 400. So this is the first of 2 or 3 coats of sanding sealer. On the outside I put 3 coats of sanding sealer and 2 coats of shellac, so I'll probably do the same on the inside. I'm gonna have to take a little brush and get down in that crack and a couple of other areas as well. So I'll be working on this a few coats, and it's getting late, so I'll finish that up tonight. My night to cook. Sloppy joes and French fries at my night to cook. Haven't had sloppy joes in a while. So I'll see you back here tomorrow and we'll be taking off that tenon. Sleep well. We are ready to remove the tenon. So I'm just gonna place the bowl on this block of wood that has a non-slip surface on it and bring up my tailstock. I've got the little hole there for reference. Bring up the tool rest and spin it up a little bit. Hold my thumb over here, make sure that it's hitting equally all the way around. And it's pretty close. It's not perfect, but it's close. And then I'm going to grab a 3/8 inch standard grind bowl gouge and commence to removing that tenon. Like I told you, that tenon does have a crack right here. That's the end of that crack that we saw on the inside. So I have to be a little bit gentle. Just want to check for clearance. And we have clearance. I think I'm going to leave this center portion and just remove the rest of the tenon. I'm turning it about 600 RPM. Now the scary part that I forgot about is the fact that this is all end grain. So it's not as strong as side grain. So it is entirely possible that could break off when I least expect it, and I'd just rather it didn't. I'm going to switch to a swept back 3/8 inch bowl gouge to complete this cut. I almost wish I hadn't remembered that. I'm going to slow the speed down here about 400. Now because it's end grain, I'm starting way earlier than I normally would with the swept back gouge, because I'm just afraid it's going to break. So I'm going to turn the speed way down. This is going to take some time. I'm going to turn down to about 200. I'm going to use just my right hand on the gouge with the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl. So right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch, applying a goodly amount of pressure towards the headstock. And I just want to finish this cut on the lathe. But we got her done, no damage. So I'll just take this over to the workbench and sand this 2-inch area up. Well, there we have it. One Cherry-Plum live edge bowl in the books. What a beautiful piece of wood. What a beautiful piece of wood. There's the bottom all finished up. I signed it. I wrote Cherry-Plum. I wrote TM for Tuffy Marginez, the donator of this beautiful, beautiful piece of wood. What do you think? It's a very substantial piece, obviously. Quite thick. Very thin right here. My guess is less than 1/8 of an inch. Right in that area. Over here, 1 inch. It's 1 inch thick in places. The bottom ended up being just over 3/4 of an inch thick. But look at that grain. Look at that bark. Look at all that's going on. What a wonderful piece. And I'm told this is an art piece. I'm told Andy Cohen, for one, and others, said if it holds soup, it's a bowl. If it doesn't hold soup, it's an art piece. So this is an art piece, because that crack is not going to hold soup. Tuffy, nice job, buddy. Nice job picking this one up. Wow. So there you go. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos, about 1 a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. Your comments are always welcome, and I respond to all of them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.